we have to talk about a couple of these U17 weight classes at the US Open. Kozak, this is a world team trial. It's the world team trial that's happening at this event. It's U17 men's freestyle, men's Greco-Roman. We're going to talk about 55 kilos in men's freestyle because this weight class is incredibly deep. What you see up here looks like a bracket, but right off the bat, we got to tell you, we don't know what the bracket's going to look like. USA Wrestling uses separation criteria. So if you're a world medalist, you fall into category 1. If you made the finals of Fargo or this event in the past, you're level 2. If you placed Fargo freestyle, there's some other stuff in there, you're level 5. And then if you placed in Greco, level 6. So it creates some really interesting separation, but we don't know how the brackets are going to look. We just made this one because it'd be fun to think about some of these potential matchups. Yeah. So guys that are in level 1, that's Nate Jezeroga. Also, a guy that's not yet registered, but I think probably will, is Luke Lillidahl. So he's not on the board because he's not yet registered, but Lillidahl, a world medalist last year, he was a silver, and so he's a guy that would immediately kind of go into that 2 spot. Level 2, these are guys that have made the Fargo finals or made U17 finals. Yep, we got Adrian Meza right there. We got Leo DeLuca, Cale Lauritsen right here, and also our man Sam Herring, who made the Fargo finals last year. The rest of the guys on this board are actually they're level 5 guys, and so they're, oh, look at that, man, what an amazing thing. They're level 5 guys, so those guys include Mason Gibson, Vinny Kilkeary, Jax Forrest, Drew Gorman, and Nick Treaster, who's not on here. So those guys are all really, really tough. They placed in Fargo, super good. We got one guy who, if we were sitting it, he would probably end up the 9, but we got to talk about this guy, Drew Gorman. He is sitting right now number 18 in the country, but Gorman is a guy that can't be ignored. He is coming off a performance at Journeyman where he took out a Cadet World Silver medalist, a guy that beat Nate Jezeroga. Yeah. Gorman's coming on at the right time, so don't sleep on him, even though we didn't put him in the bracket. And then one other guy that's not on the board at all because he doesn't have separation criteria, Ben Davino. He won U15 last year. He beat Anthony Knox in the process. He's ranked 5th in the country. He's going to be a complete wild card because he's not going to get separation criteria, and we'll have to wait and see where he plays out. But we've got a fictional bracket here. Let's talk about some matchups.
Let's go through it. So at the top, we got the 1 seed, whereas if Luke Lillidahl doesn't enter, he's going to for sure be the 1 seed. Nate Jezeroga, we have his potential matchup, Jax Forrest. Now, Jax Forrest, tell me a little bit about Jax Forrest. I know kind of just entering the high school scene.
Yeah. I mean, he's going to be a freshman next year, but he's very well established on that high school scene. He just took out Super 32 finalist Jake Krafts at the Elite 8 duels. If this is a matchup we see in the quarterfinals, it is not a walk in the park for Jezeroga. In fact, I think Jax Forrest is a guy that could potentially win this whole bracket. And just an 8th grader. He trains at Bishop McCourt, so trains with Sam Herring, trains with Bo Bassett, trains with Mason Gibson, and that's a lot of good partners that he gets his hands on every day. If this is a matchup we see, pause everything, make this one full screen. You're going to want to watch this because this is a matchup that could be a big-time upset. Circle it. It's going to be exciting. That said, I'm probably still going to lean Nate Jezeroga. He's gotten it done at this event before. He won a really tough field at 51 kilos last year that included Mark Anthony McGowan. Won a bronze medal at the World Championships. So if this match happens, I'm going to lean Jezeroga. Yeah,
I like Jezeroga as a prospect, and even just, as a freestyle wrestler, he holds really good position. He's tough to score on. He's got a couple different ways that he can attack. So I like Jezeroga a lot, but I'm looking forward to getting to see a little bit more of Jax Forrest here.
Yeah, got to pay attention to Forrest for sure. All right, so that would take us down to this matchup here. And your Jedi mind trick's not working yet.
It's not working yet, yeah. We'll see if we can get it going.
But I think it will.
There we go.
There
it
is.
Sam Herring and Cale Lauritsen. We kind of set them up as the 4-5, both Fargo finalists. Herring kind of coming up in weight a little bit. He was originally registered 48. Now he's all the way up at 55. How do you see him stacking up against, somebody like Cale Lauritsen?
I think the size is a really big piece of the equation. Sam Herring originally registered for this tournament at 48 kilos and was thinking about making that cut. That's about 106. Now up at 55, this is like 121.
Yeah.
That's the weight class that where he sees himself. And look, we talked about the training partners, the Bishop McCourt guys, that half the people on the board. Well, Bo Bass is not, but 4 guys that are really elite. So not afraid of a challenge. I do think that Cale Lauritsen would be a little bit of probably a tough matchup for Herring. Lauritsen was a finalist at this event last year at this same weight class, 55 kilos. He's been down at 113 for his high school season, but he's, I think, plenty big enough for 55. Lauritsen, by the way, hey, just committed to Nebraska. Shout out to him. Congrats on that. But freestyle and Greco are where he really makes his money. He's got accolades in freestyle and Greco that he doesn't have in folk style. And so I think this guy's been in the finals here before. It probably favors Lauritsen if this is a matchup that we see.
Yep. All right, let's move on. Up here to number 2 and potentially number 7, we got Kilkiri and Adrian Meza. Meza won Fargo last year. I really like Meza as a freestyle prospect.
Yeah.
And from what I saw of him, I think he's better in freestyle than he is in folk style from what I've seen of him. Tell me what you think about this matchup with Kilkiri here.
Adrian Meza trains at Valiant Prep. Valiant Prep has, I think, traditionally had more success in the international styles. If you don't know Valiant Prep, they're a wrestling school in Arizona. They train all the time and they compete at national events, and freestyle is a huge focus for them. So yeah, like you said, very skilled. Adrian Meza is super tough. Compared to Kilkiri, he's a little bit more fundamental, although basically everybody is fundamental compared to Vinny Kilkiri. Kilkiri throws the kitchen sink, just won his second PIAA title as a junior this year. He's going to Ohio State. Vinny Kilkiri is a guy that has a whole bunch of tools, and he can win in kind of fundamental positions, or he can go big, but he's not always 100% consistent. There are ups and downs for Kilkiri. This is a matchup that is as close to a coin toss as I think we're going to see, if we see it. Given the freestyle success, I probably lean Adrian Meza, but if you ask me in 1 minute, I might lean to Vinny Kilkiri.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. That's interesting to think about. Yeah, I really like Meza in freestyle, so I think I would pick him at least to make the semis. All right, so our last potential quarterfinal match here, Mason Gibson and Leo DeLuca. We saw Leo DeLuca win Fargo title last year, and I forget maybe where he wrestled, but definitely he's one of the maybe undersized, like 55 kilo guys, and I think Mason Gibson maybe we'll have a little bit of a size advantage here if we see this potential matchup. Yeah,
Leo DeLuca won his Fargo title at 113. Then he just won a national prep title, also at 113. This is kind of his first, this is one of the first times he'll be up at this new weight class. He wrestled 120 pounds at Journeyman. He had a tough one with with Luke Lillidahl. DeLuca had a tough one with Lillidahl. Lillidahl looked to be a little bigger, even though Lillidahl had been down at 113 for parts of the year. Those two had a really close match in folk style, and the size seemed to be a factor in freestyle. Lillidahl seemed to have grown to the weight a little bit more than DeLuca had. But if he wrestles Mason Gibson, it'll be very interesting. Gibson is somebody that can score in a lot of different ways, but a lot of times doesn't run the score up really high. Gibson, plenty big for the weight. When he was a Fargo champ in Greco last year, that was at 126 pounds. So he's been around this weight for a long time. Definitely going to be, I think, bigger, stronger, going to present some challenges. So probably Mason Gibson's the favorite, even though Lillidahl's the tier 2 guy and Gibson is the tier 5. But if we do see this match, I think probably right now it's a Mason Gibson favorite.
Yeah. So then this, sets up, we could see this bracket play out in a number of different ways, but it really sets up some interesting semifinal matchups. If you got Mason Gibson and Adrian Meza here, and then you pull over Jezeroga and Lauritsen. Talk about some of these semifinals and how you think these matches play out potentially.
If Jezeroga can get past Jax Forrest, I think he can also get past Kale Lauritsen. I think that matchup, Jezeroga is a favorite. Lauritsen has some like I said, phenomenal freestyle skills, and he can threaten Jezeroga a lot of different ways. But Nate Jezeroga he almost never breaks position.
Yeah.
And breaking position is one of the things that Kale Lauritsen capitalizes on, right? Anybody that gets out of position even a little bit, he can turn that into a whole bunch of points in a hurry. He can get his parterre going. I just think he's going to have a hard time doing that against a guy as seasoned as Nate Jezeroga. So I like Jezeroga if we see that one.
Interesting. Yeah, I was watching some Lauritsen, and he really strong from front head position, with some head pinches, and then if he gets on top, he's got some good gut wrenches as well. But like you said, Jezeroga is just a guy who, he doesn't really put himself in danger, too much. And so you really kind of like him in a matchup like this. But he's going to need to finish quick. If he gets in on a leg, he's going to need to finish quick. Otherwise, he could be set up for some danger with Lauritsen's front headlock for sure. All right, over to the other side. Meza and Gibson. We saw Gibson lose to another Arizona guy last year at Fargo, Larkin. So you think Meza's got the goods to take Gibson out?
Meza and Larkin are, not only are they both from Arizona, they're teammates at Valiant Prep. They train together a lot, and I think for sure he's going to have, they're going to have shared a game plan, right, on Gibson.
Yeah.
One of the things that you can't count on that you could last year is that Mason Gibson was wrestling pretty hurt last year, torn ACL, and that probably limited his offense a little bit. But this match is a very, very competitive. It's extremely close. Mason Gibson still kind of coming off that injury. He had surgery after Fargo and then didn't wrestle again until NHSCAs. He won NHSCAs, but looked like he was still putting the pieces together a little bit. So how close to 100% is Mason Gibson? I think physically he's 100%, but how close to, competitively back to 100% is he? That's going to be a big factor. So all that considered, all those factors being weighed in, I think I'm still leaning Gibson. I think this match will be really, really close. I think if it's criteria, I'm not surprised. If Gibson has to come from behind late, I'm not surprised. We saw some of that at these trials last year, but I think I would pick Mason Gibson. No, don't feel great about it.
All right. So then that sets up potential finals match. Lauritsen going in here between Mason Gibson, Nate Jezeroga. Worth the price of admission, right? It's like you watch this match, or you make this potential match, like, man, this is the one maybe you kind of want to see play out here. What do you think of this match? How do you see it playing out here?
It's interesting. Right now at 120 pounds, Mason Gibson, even though he's tier 5, he's ranked number 1 because he has the win over Mark Anthony McGowan. Jezeroga, though, down at number 4, took a couple losses at the Elite 8 duels, and so the momentum is really not with either of these guys, right?
Yeah.
Gibson has the higher ranking, but he's been injured and he's been coming off that injury. Jezeroga is coming off a couple losses. So this is a fascinating matchup, a little bit of a redemption event for both guys. I think in a matchup like this, which feels like a who's number 1 match, right?
Yeah.
Feels like that level of importance. In a matchup like this, I'm going to lean towards a guy who's gotten it done at this level before, and that's Jezeroga. I think it's going to be really close. The way that he won last year against Mark Anthony McGowan, the way that he was able to create an incredibly high pace in just a 4-minute match was hard to replicate, but having seen him do it, I think I'm going to lean Jezeroga, but this is why you got to watch this bracket, because who knows?
Yeah, you have, however, 7 other guys on the screen and a couple up more that you mentioned. It's like, man, they could make their way to the finals and they could totally blow this whole thing up. And so it's like, man, it feels a little presumptuous just talking about these two in the finals here. But like you said, we saw Jezeroga get it done last year. We saw him win that world medal, and so it's like, man, how could you not? Yeah. How can you not feel? When you something like this where anything can happen, how can you not feel confident and be like, all right, I'm just going to go with the pick where we've seen the guy do it. We've seen him get it done before. And also his style where he stays in such good position and he's able to set a super high pace in a 4-minute match. It's like you feel good about Jezeroga.
Bottom line is, from the round of 16 on, you're going to have so much to watch, so much to pay attention to, and I can't wait to see it, digest all this stuff. It's going to be incredible.